Have you ever felt torn between what a doctor recommends and what your family or culture expects you to do? You're not alone. When caregiving meets cultural values, the road can get complicated, but also deeply meaningful. Hi, and welcome back to Radiant Moments, a JMB podcast. I'm Michelle, and I'm so glad you're here today. Let's begin with a breath together. Wherever you are, take a slow inhale. Hold. And exhale gently. Let the tension melt and bring yourself to this moment. This is your time to pause, reflect, and feel seen. Today, we're diving into a topic that touches so many of us, even if we don't always speak about it out loud: the intersection of caregiving and culture. Whether you grew up in a family where health decisions were made as a collective, or you're navigating traditions around food, healing, or end-of-life care, your cultural values shape how you care and how you are cared for. And yet, when those values meet Western medical systems, they may not understand or accommodate them. It can lead to conflict, feelings of guilt, or confusion. So in today's episode, we're exploring how to respect cultural traditions and meet medical needs in a way that feels balanced and authentic. If you missed last week's episode on the emotional weight of advocacy, definitely go back and listen. It pairs beautifully with this topic, especially when you're advocating in spaces that don't fully understand your background or your loved one's story. And don't forget, we've got supportive resources in the show notes for you, from our gratitude journal to our JMB Oasis community. You don't have to figure this out all alone. Let's dive in. Culture is more than language or holidays. It's how we understand illness, the healing path, aging, death, and even who should be providing care. In some cultures, caregiving is seen as a sacred duty passed through generations. In others, seeking outside help might be seen as disrespectful. You might face questions like, should I follow traditional remedies or medical advice? Is it okay to say no to a family elder? How do I explain medical decisions to a family member who doesn't speak English fluently? These are real complex questions with no one-size-fits-all answers. One caregiver has shared with me, my mother believed that eating hot foods would heal the body, while the doctors said only cold liquids after surgery. I felt caught in the middle between showing respect to my mum and following medical advice I didn't fully understand myself. This is a perfect example of how cultural beliefs and modern care can clash, and also how, with awareness, they can be navigated with love. We need to start with listening, then educating. When cultural clashes with medical expectations, start with listening to both your loved one and yourself. What do they believe about their condition? What do you believe? And how can those beliefs live side by side with what the doctors are saying? Ask, what feels important to you in your care? And then reflect, what traditions or value do I want to honour through this decision? Once you've listened, it's easy to educate. This might mean gently explaining a procedure to a grandparent in terms they understand, or sharing cultural context with a healthcare provider who seems unaware. I'd like you to try this. Keep a short script ready to advocate for your cultural needs. Something like, in our culture, it's important that the whole family is involved in decisions. We could arrange a group call before we decide on the next steps. Or, this food or practice is really meaningful to them. Can we explore if there's a way to include it safely in my care? These small bridges of communication can help everyone feel more respected and included. So how do we honour traditions without sacrificing health? Sometimes it's not about choosing one or the other. It's about creating space for both to coexist. Can a traditional remedy be used alongside medication? Can rituals be adapted in a hospital setting? Can language barriers be reduced with interpreter services or translated materials? I'd like to share a part of my personal story. During the birth and early hospital stay of my loved one, we were placed in the neonatal intensive care unit, a space filled with tiny lives fighting big battles. It was there I met a beautiful family whose newborn was also navigating an incredibly difficult start to life. In the NICU, privacy is rare. Babies are closely monitored in one large room, surrounded by machines, staff, and noise 24/7. But for this family, their culture required something more intimate, more sacred. After the birth, they needed privacy to feed and bond. They needed space to pray. They needed their elders to speak blessings and guidance over the new life that had arrived. But the rigidity of the hospital environment didn't allow for any of it. There were strict visiting rules, limited space, constant interruptions, and it left this family in deep distress, not only worried about their baby's health, but heartbroken that they couldn't honour their traditions in those precious first days. The divide between medical protocol and cultural expectation was profound and painful. One day, the mother and I were talking quietly while we visited our babies. She shared how lost she felt, how desperately she needed to make adjustments, not just for her baby's survival, but for her spirit, her family, and her culture. Just then, one of the NICU nurses, a truly compassionate soul, joined our conversation, and something beautiful happened. Together, we brainstormed simple ways to bridge the gap. The nurse found a way to give the family a few extra minutes of privacy. We coordinated a quiet time when elders could come and pray near the crib. The medical team agreed to pause non-urgent interruptions during those sacred moments. It wasn't perfect, it didn't meet every need, but it was a start. A powerful start. That shift, small as it was, opened the door to more conversations, more flexibility, and more understanding. It changed the energy in the entire room. It gave that family a sense of calm and dignity amidst the chaos. And it reminded me that cultural understanding in modern medicine isn't always automatic, but it can be built, one compassionate act at a time, one conversation at a time. 14 years later, I see more and more care teams making the effort to understand and collaborate. We're not all the way there, but we're moving in the right direction. And stories like this remind me why it matters so deeply. What happens when you feel caught in the middle? You won't always have answers. There will be times when family expectations feel at odds with your instincts or medical guidance. Here's what I want you to remember. You are allowed to honour your roots while still making informed decisions. It's not betrayal to ask questions. It's not wrong to choose the path that feels most compassionate, even if it's not traditional. You are a bridge between worlds, and that is a powerful, courageous role. Here's an affirmation for you today. I honour my culture while making choices rooted in love, respect, and care. Here is your cultural care challenge for the week. This week, I invite you to reflect on your own cultural values, whether they're from your upbringing, your parents' family, or the community you belong to. Take some time and ask yourself, what beliefs about caregiving feel meaningful to me? Have I ever felt tension between tradition and medical advice? And how can I create space for both moving forward? Try this. Write a short cultural care note for your loved one's medical file. This could be 1 or 2 sentences about language, traditions, food, or communication style. It helps teams better understand who your loved one really is, not just their diagnosis. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to explore more support through J&B Inspired. In our private community, we talk about these real-life challenges, how to navigate them, how to honor them, and how to find confidence in your own voice, no matter what your background. You don't have to figure it out all alone. Come join the conversation. Your story is welcome here. Thank you for sharing this space with me today. Culture is a beautiful part of caregiving, but it's not always simple. If you're juggling different worlds right now, know that you're doing something incredibly meaningful. You're creating a bridge, and that's no small feat. Next time on Radiant Moments, we're diving into how to involve your loved one in care decisions, how to honor their autonomy, even when they can't always speak for themselves. Until then, stay radiant, stay empowered, and keep shining your light bright.